I seek refuge in God from the cursed Satan, and in the name of God, the merciful, the intensely merciful, I welcome you once again to another episode of the New Islam, where we talk about the matter of the riser of the family of Muhammad. But before that, I want to thank you and welcome Brother Osman with me, my co-host.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum to everyone out there, and thank you for joining us today.
And then we are going to talk today about the matter of the Qa'im alayhi salatu wasalam. Why the Qa'im is here. Why the Qa'im to begin with. I think this is a very important topic to discuss because people in general, they do not really have a deep understanding about the riser of the family of Muhammad. There's a huge deal of narrations that talks about the matter of the Qa'im of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. He is the one who when we say Qa'im, we mean by it the riser, because in the Arabic language, the word Qa'im is the one who's rising or the one who rose, right? Then you have, for example, in the time of the Qiyam, that means the rise, the process between sitting down and standing up. So somebody's sitting down, that's sitting, right? That's julus, that's wait time. Now he's rising. He started to rise from his chair, for example. Yes? Now he's in the process of rising. When he stands up, he rose already. So the Qa'im alayhi salatu wasalam, in the narrations, there is multiple narrations that point into the different stages of his appearance. One time it talks about the signs of just before he appears, like just the signs of, if you see this sign, then expect the riser to come. If you see this sign, then expect him to knock on your doors, type of scenario.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, you have narrations which says when he rises, when he's rising, you should, for example, whoever sees him, as soon as you see him, you have to give allegiance to him, even if you have to crawl on ice. He rose already. Yes, he's already in the public domain. He is apparent. You can see him, and therefore you can go and give allegiance to him, even if you have to crawl on ice. He is that character in the narrations that if you hear about him, and you investigate him, and you do not give allegiance to him, it is as if you have been in the time of Jesus Christ and you did not pledge your allegiance to Jesus, and it is as if you were in the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and you failed to support Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Exactly. And the matter of the riser and the Qa'im is something that even people who do know about this individual and have heard about him before, there's a lot of misconceptions of how he's going to rise and what he's going to bring with this rise. And there are many narrations from the Ahlul Bayt, the Prophet Muhammad and his family, that actually mention that the way he's going to rise is going to be something that is going to be very, very difficult for a lot of people to accept. One of the narrations that's very big that a lot of people know is that Islam began as something strange and it will return as something strange. And Imam Mahdi does come with a lot of new teachings that are strange to a lot of people, and the misconception is what we're here to talk about today as well, and get into a bit of the truth of what he's really coming with.
Exactly. And so the idea is that a character like this, a character of that kind of importance, we literally have to address, first of all, how do you recognize him? How do you recognize a man like of that kind of stature, where the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam tell you, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells you, as soon as you see him, you have to give allegiance to him, even if you have to crawl on ice. Identifying such a man is something very important, because then you don't want to miss out on the whole journey. How do you identify the man alayhi salatu wasalam? We've said time and time again, and we'll repeat again until everybody hears this, until everybody in this world says, hey, we 8 billion people, we know exactly what you guys are saying. It's the will of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is the knowledge that he comes with, and it is the banner of allegiances to God. So this is the methodology, this is the ancient methodology that the prophets and the messengers and their successors have used to prove themselves. So we expect that the Qa'im alayhi salatu wasalam, or the riser, comes up and rises with the same methodology, the same exact methodology that made us comfortable in actually believing in Jesus and believing in Muhammad and believing in all these holy prophets, from them is peace and guidance.
Exactly. And yeah, it's one of those things where anybody who claims to be a representative of God has actually fulfilled all of these same methods. So it's not something that was made up out of nowhere by Ahmed Hassan or Abba Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. When you look into history, every prophet and messenger has fulfilled this criteria here, and we'll go into a bit more detail on some of those examples.
Exactly, and I think that's it. It's exactly right. And I think one of the questions we have to answer also, so we answered how to identify him. You identify him in the same way that you would identify Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam if you're a Christian in the time of Jesus, in the time of the Prophet.
Exactly.
Yes, which is what the knowledge, the banner that he raises, which is the call of allegiances to God, and that supremacy is only to God, and that Quraysh have no authority over the people when it comes to who is leading and what kind of decisions to be made in the city of God. Therefore, if people believe in something, they have to actually be ruled by it. So then on top of that, you have Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam claiming to be named by Jesus Christ as the Paraclete, and that's a claim of the will of Jesus Christ alayhi salatu wasalam, directly being mentioned by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, he gives you a good solid case, historical case that can be proved, even that Jesus have used the same, even in this Bible today, people have used this, Jesus has used the same methodology that is in the Quran. So they confirm one another. And at the same time, you go to the Torah, you find Moses doing the same thing, Joshua son of Nun. So they confirm one another. All these three holy texts, they confirm one another. The history in them is the same. So when it comes to how to identify the man, so what are some of the roles of the Qa'im alayhi salatu wasalam? Like, what is he here for? What is he to do? I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He's one of the main roles he's coming for is to save mankind from the punishment that is coming upon mankind and that they brought upon themselves. If you look at the state of the world today, there's no way that you can sit back and say that this is the way that God wanted the world to be. With all these sectarian divides in every single major religion, you can definitely tell that the signs of the end of the world are coming, and the apocalypse as well. You can check out more information about this in Abba Sadiq's video on the Mahdi's Appeared YouTube channel, video called Signs and Wonders of the Apocalypse. It's all around us, and Abba Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, his purpose is to come and save mankind from the apocalypse that is coming. We're on the doorsteps of World War III. I think you put it best. We are actually already in it. It's one of those things that we're already in, and it's just growing now in more and more countries.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like similar to as World War II, World War One. It's the same. Every country around, almost every country in the world is already engaged in war, except in the world already engaged in one way, shape, or form. So, yeah, we are in World War. There is a punishment that is being brought by God on the people due to their own works and their own behaviors and what they followed and what they supported in the land and what they continue to support today. So the roles of the Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, also another one to add to that would be to build a divine just state. Like, that's his role. That's the role that is given to him by the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, by God, that when he comes, he spreads justice in the land in as much as injustice is spread in the land. What is happening today? Today what's happening is that there is a country like, for example, Iraq. The main state religion of that country is Islam, according to the constitution of Iraq. And according to the constitution of Egypt, it is literally the same. It is Islam. According to the constitution of Iran, it is Islam. According to the constitution of Jordan, it is Islam. This is the state religion, is Islam. And therefore, they judge and rule based on Islamic Sharia law to a certain degree, and then add to it man-made laws to, sprinkle on top of it. That way you can actually arrange yourself and treat people in what you would consider to be a humane way. So, like, for example, in Iraq, even though they say their national religion or the religion of the government is Islam, the Sharia law is not applied there. Like the cutting of the hands of the thief is not working there. It doesn't happen there. There's lots of rules and laws that are illegal, for example. Even for example, if you go to the Shia scholars, these filthy creatures, basically, what do they say? They say in their books, for example, Sistani, he says that it's okay to marry a girl before 9. Yes, you cannot enter upon her. You can have sexual pleasures with her, but not entering upon her. So you can imagine something like that is not applied by the by the court of law in Iraq. Courts of law would look at that and say that's illegal. You
Exactly.
understand? So then they're ruled by, they claim to be Muslim rulership, but it's not. So in fact, it's very far away from it. It's a very secular kind of rules that they have over there, with a lot of mixture of honor and culture. So, for example, people in Iraq, if somebody kills due to honor, there is honor killing over there. So if somebody kills somebody with an honor crime, due to some sort of a cheating or something like that, they get lesser sentences.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you could imagine this is a cultural thing. This that has implemented itself into the judicial law over there. So you'll find something very interesting. No matter where you go, the laws of the land is different from one country to another country, even though they all claim to be Muslims and they all claim to have Islamic, Islam as their main source of tashri'ah, main source of legalization of laws, or like making laws. So the idea is that when you come to this, now what is the problem? The Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam, or the riser, when he comes, he's going to come and he's going to create a divine just state. The divine just state, for those who don't know, it is like a state Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam said, that the riser will judge the people of the book by the book, will judge the people of the Torah by the Torah, will judge the people of the Quran by the Quran, and so on. So the theme of the divine justice state that is built by the Qa'im alayhi salatu salam would be what? Would be that he would create a state, and in that state it will be divisions, as Abu Sadiq said in the video, of the refugee land.
Exactly.
So he said there's divisions in that state, where in this division you have, this is the Christian division, this is the Jewish division, this is the Muslim division, and each one of them would have a ruling system that is ruling them based on their own belief system.
Exactly.
So then they'll have to really come and live up to the standards of what they claim to believe in. And if you don't believe in it, then don't stay there. You have to go to a different division where you believe in it.
Exactly.
So say, for example, then you have us, for example, we have our division, and it's the Ahmadi religion of peace and light division, and we're ruled by the seventh covenant, which is, by the way, another thing that he comes with. He comes with a method of salvation for your akhirah, for your afterlife, because right now, we do not believe in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, that the Muslims are on the right covenant of God. We don't believe that they are on the right covenant, nor the Christians, nor the Jews. We believe that they've broken the covenants with God. All their contract with God, completely nullified now. Doesn't work.
Exactly.
And your prayer doesn't work when there are children who are dying of hunger. And your countries are ruled by so-called Muslims. So it just doesn't work, Allah doesn't accept these kinds of prayers. What prayer when your leaders are leaving people to die of hunger and they have all the money, all the control over the entire land? What are you talking about?
Exactly. And it's very interesting because the refugee land that Abu Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam actually talked about, the core fundamental rule that everybody has to agree to is the fact that there is a supreme creator and he sent a messenger to all people, and everybody has a right to believe and practice what was preached and sent to them.
Exactly.
Which is humanity at its core.
Exactly. And I think that's the peak of justice. I mean, if we're talking about justice, there is no justice better than this, that you would rule people by their own belief system.
Exactly.
And then you will see, it is, as one of the brothers said, that is the best da'wah for us, that we allow the Muslims to actually practice Islam. Then for sure we would be like doing da'wah for ourselves. But so I would urge you, brothers and sisters, to actually check this video out from Abu Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. It is called what the world refugee should do. Yes, like the idea is that what is the solution to the refugees in the world, which are about 45 million people. So in order for you, after you watch that video, and if you have watched it already, I want to also basically allow you the opportunity to be a part of this great movement for humanity first. And it's a petition that you can sign. from wherever you are, and inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you sign it, it'd be a solution to the humanitarian disaster of the refugee scenario that is happening around the world. There are millions of people who are being displaced from their locations, from their homes, and there is a petition for you to create a entire country, a piece of land that is given by the governments of the world and ruled by that's such a system we discussed earlier. And also, once that happens and is established, then it'll be like a beacon a beacon of light and hope for the people who are seeking refuge. Why are they calling refugees? They're seeking refuge, right? Somewhere else. Their land is destroyed by wars, by politics, by billionaires, by whatever it is, by natural disaster, whatever the situation is. We have to, whether you believe we are people of hellfire or heaven, it doesn't matter. This is a humanitarian solution. If you cannot look past your ego and past your religion, then you're like not seeing the problem here that we're putting towards. There is a solution that is so humanitarian that it does not care about your religion. Exactly. And yet it allows you to practice your religion better than any country of Muslim countries can ever allow you to.
Exactly. So for anybody out there who's wondering why we believe in Abba Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, this is one of the reasons. There are numerous reasons, but this is one of the reasons. Just look at what he's calling towards. He is calling towards one of the greatest humanitarian issues in the world today, which is refugees. Every single country has an issue of refugees either coming into their countries or refugees trying to leave. And he is calling for a solution to solve the greatest humanitarian issue in the world today. This is one of the reasons why we believe Abba Sadiq is the savior. Exactly. And on top of numerous other reasons we'll get into.
Exactly. So please sign the petition and be a part of this great movement, and do not let your arrogance or your religious background or your cultural background, or at least your hatred towards this da'wah, to a degree, can be a blinder for you to see what we're calling for. We are calling you for building of a country where in it you as a Sunni, you as a Shia, you as a Salafi, whatever you are,
a Buddhist,
as a Buddhist, as a Hindu, as a Christian, as a Catholic, as a Protestant, to live under a jurisprudence which you believe in. Forget about me. I don't want to be ruled by your rules at all. And I don't think the majority of the world would imagine or want to be ruled by the rules of Muslims, Muslim Sunnis or Shia, whatever. It doesn't
exactly.
We don't want to live like you. So what do? The only solution I've heard from the Muslim brothers is fighting. Pick up a gun and start fighting. Under whose leadership? They don't talk about that. It's okay. Just fight for now. Pick up a gun and start shooting. What are you talking about? How does that make sense? Under which rulership? Why should we follow these rulers? Under what authority do they rule and judge us? In different ways. In the same way they judged everybody. The Christian and the Jew and the Hindu and the Buddhist, everybody's judged in the same way. How is that justice? That's almost like teaching every person in your classroom the exact same methodology. Well, you have people who have ADD, you have people who have different learning disabilities, you have people who are like different difficulties in learning. Maybe they learn in different ways. If you do that, you're oppressing these kids.
100%.
In the same way, if you judge everybody in one general mass kind of ruleship, then what you're doing is that you're destroying your own people. You're creating chaos in your own land. You're for sure going to end up in either a tyranny or some sort of a civil war. This is the end result. We've seen it countless times. History is packed full of people who did this, and their end was like, 300, 400 years? 500 year maximum you have? Roman empires, Byzantine Empire, all these empires, how big they got? They got super big. They did not rule the same way. While you find a character like Alexander the Great, when he went to Iraq, he controlled it, and until today, people love him. Why? Because he implemented the same divine justice state that we're trying to implement here. He actually ruled the people of Iraq by their own people.
Mm-hmm.
He ruled the people of China, like the people of whatever country. He ruled them by their people,
Exactly.
by their own standards. He did not enforce laws that don't make sense for the people who are of the land. I mean, it's like forcing a fish to run a 5 kilometer, like run, because that's what you do with horses or something. How
Doesn't
does that?
logically make sense. Nah.
It doesn't. It's just injustice, and that's what is injustice. Injustice is placing a thing in its wrong place.
Exactly. So the whole idea of us calling to a new Islam should not be that foreign. When you take a look at the state of the world today, just like Brother Hussam has mentioned, all of these different governments and oppressive leaders, they're calling for division. They are not calling for unity amongst the people. So the new Islam that the Qa'im and the riser is going to come with is going to be something that is different than what you see in the world today. And if you're somebody who has any light or any goodness in your heart, you should definitely see that what we are experiencing in the world today is not goodness. It's not from God. So when we say a new Islam, we are calling for a change for goodness of mankind and all peoples across the world today. If that seems like a foreign idea to you, then you have some other things that you need to figure out as well.
Exactly. And mind you, if your religion is actually as good as you say it is, then your division inside that state would be so flourishing, and it would be so amazing that everybody will want to join you, right? Because we're seeing that you guys are Muslims and you're Sunni or whatever, and you're creating the best of the land, the best of things, you're doing the best of things. And the Christians will also have an opportunity to show us what kind of a Christian kingdom would look like. And the Jewish person would also give us the same. And then we will show you what we can build for you and what our rules and our laws would do to the land. How our rules and laws will actually create entire... it'll create a culture of amazing bonding between humanity, selflessness, and love for everybody and everything. This is what we're doing. We could have easily just started a country of our own, in a way, yeah? And we say just for us. But that's not what we are told that the riser of the family of Muhammad would do. I mean, that's what your scholars have done. That's what the scholars of Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, that's what they've been doing. They start their own things and leave the rest to die.
Exactly.
Why, or rule everybody, as we said, by that unjust system. What we have offered and what we are putting on the table today is a petition that you can sign that would support in it the creation of a just state. A state where the Muslim can finally be a Muslim. Finally, because you cannot say you guys are actually Muslims. Yeah, I see debates day and night on TikToks and on the live social media platforms and on TV. Day and night, the Muslims between Sunni and Sunni, between Shia and Shia, Shia and Sunni, debating each other and calling each other disbelievers and calling each other all
type of names.
All kinds of things. And so you cannot, for example, claim for me that you are actually on the truth when you have such a division between you guys. And if you are on truth, then this is the solution that would actually help you shine. Because in the Quran it says what? فَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ. And those who do not rule by what Allah has judge by what Allah has ruled, those are the disbelievers. This is one. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ. And those who do not rule by the rule of Allah, those are the munafiqeen, those are the hypocrites. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. Sorry, the fasiqun is the corrupt ones, the oppressive ones. So now, disbelievers and corrupt. And فَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ, the oppressors. So three Quranic verses that says to you that if you do not rule by the rule of Allah, then you are an oppressor, you are a disbeliever, and you are a fasiq, a corrupt person. What Muslim is ruling by the rule of Allah today? What Islamic country? Nothing. None of you. You're ruled by either a mixture, a very distorted, deformed mixture of what you have between your hands and books versus what you have on the land. Complete distortion, completely deformed from the original look of what you have in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, for example. Complete distortion in what you have, for example, in the books of the Hadith and the Ahlul Baits.
Exactly. So the idea is, what we're calling for is the goal of all of the prophets and messengers since the beginning of time, right? Every prophet and messenger that was sent to mankind, their goal was to build a divine just state. And just like we've mentioned, by the hands of the people, namely the scholars and the people that misguide people and take religion away, we have not been able to do that, right? But the will of God will be done on this earth. And we know for a fact that God said there will be a divine just state that will eventually come to be. And Abba Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam is bringing the glad tidings of that divine just state. And if it seems new and foreign to you, then I'm not really sure what to tell you, because everything that you see today is not anything good or anything from God.
See, look, there is the proof against Islam today is also that the governments of the world in the Middle East, for example, what they do is that they are under Islamic law, but they oppress, for example, the Ahmadi religion of peace and light followers. So there is no such a thing as free speech or free ability to believe what you want to believe. It is only under the limitation of whatever they decide is okay for you to believe in. So it's complete humanitarian oppression, completely.
That's not at all what the Prophet, peace be upon him, called to.
Exactly. That's not what Allah is doing. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who said, believe what you want, do what you want. Allah is the judge in the end time about who's right and wrong. But let's go to a call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam. I have a question for Hussein.
Go ahead, brother.
Where are you from originally?
Iraq.
Iraq?
Yes.
What were you born at? Did you come upon this new, I don't know how to say,
What's the question?
Were you Shia? Were you a Christian?
Shia.
Or were you,
I was Fal Hakim al-Tabtabai.
where exactly in Iraq were you from?
What's going on here? Is this an investigation or is it really? Are you a police officer?
No, not a.
You should have my numbers in your catalogs.
Where do you reside now? In the States?
So why are you asking? This is personal questions. I mean, I have the right to answer or not, but do you have a question that is related to the religion?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I just want to know.
Go ahead, brother. I was born into a Shia family. I left Shia Islam and I left Islam altogether when I reached to America at the age of 18-ish. That's when I was introduced into the internet and I did my research and Islam, Shia, and Sunni didn't make sense to me anymore. So I just left them altogether and started researching, went to a couple of years of research into Christianity. I went to the temple. I went to the, to the church with some friends for 2 years, doing Bible studies with them and stuff like that, going out with them and talking and asking questions to priests. After that, 3 years of about 2 to 3 years of philosophy classes that I just used to enter into. So I liked philosophy as well, liked science, liked everything. So just to tell you. And also at the same time, I did 3 years of a Buddhist temple, a Japanese Buddhist temple training when I actually went in there and we did meditations together and stuff like that. And then I came back, made my turn back to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wassalam, and I found them to be the most rational, most reasonable religion. And I found Abu Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam being the most rational, having the most rational argument out there and the most logical and the one that is undefeatable. It's just simply undefeatable unless you want to become somebody who ignores reality and become an atheist.
So how do I join you guys? I want a hat like you guys. How do I join you guys?
You can buy a hat online from Amazon if you'd like.
No, I want the same one with you guys. I want to be in you guys' lives. I want to join you guys.
So if you're so infatuated by the hat, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you first have to investigate the religion, go to the YouTube channel, read The Goal of the Wise, and I think the hat is a side effect of faith, Once you believe in Abu Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah will send you a hat.
That it gives you guys powers and something like that.
So yeah, besides the mockery and the childishness, yes, let's keep it serious. What are you, if you don't mind me asking? Since you asked me questions, I think I have the rights to ask you.
Uh, I don't think I'm in a sect. I just believe in Islam. That's it.
Okay. And do you believe in the Mahdi?
Imam Mahdi?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You're Shia.
No, I'm not.
You came from a Shia background?
No,
Sunni background?
it's Islam. I don't.
Your mom and dad, are they Shia?
No,
Sunnis?
they're just Islam, brother. We don't go by Shia Sunni.
Do you accept for Bukhari and Muslim?
Do I accept what?
Do you accept narrations from Bukhari and Muslim?
I don't know. I'm not too.
So you don't know
knowledgeable.
anything about Islam, yani, just like.
I know about Islam, brother. I read the
So-
Quran and that's it. I just go by what the Quran says.
Okay, no problem. So,
Islam is in. I guess I go by it, but I just don't know too much about it.
okay, no problem. So, do you take only from the Quran?
Yeah, the Quran. Yeah.
Only Quran?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have a problem with people who take only from the Quran. Can I put it for you and then you can solve it for us?
Yeah.
So, when I go to the Quran, because I'm interested in civil law, right? I'm interested in civil human rights and human, interactions between each other, right? So, when I go to see a law from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it has to be at least clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَالسَّارِقُ وَالسَّارِقَةُ فَاقْطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا. And the thief of male and female cut their hands. What does he mean by cut their hands?
Well, I don't know if they're stealing, cut their hands, right?
Yeah, but what does it mean? Cut the hand. What does the act of cutting mean? There is multiple meanings to it.
I don't know.
So, for example, in the Quran, I can give you an example. In Surah Joseph, Surah of Joseph, alayhi salatu wassalam, when Joseph entered into the room, since you take from the Quran, when Joseph entered into the room and there were women over there cutting fruits, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَقَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنْ, right? So they cut their hands, meaning they wounded it. It's not like they chopped their hands. No, they wounded their hands from cutting the fruits. Another one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that لِيَقْطَعَ دَابِرَ الْكَافِرِينَ, so that he can cut the way for the disbelievers, which means complete cut, like completely take off parts, like completely cut their way, block their way from entrance. Another interpretation for cutting the hands, the hand is a representation of the works. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, I create them with my hand. It doesn't mean physical hand. It means, their work. The work itself is the hand. Therefore, it could mean exile, which is cutting the hands of works of these people, or it could also mean to imprison them, put them in prison. And there is also other meanings to this word. So, which one did Allah mean if the Quran alone is enough for guidance?
I don't know, brother. I don't know where you're going with that one. Still.
Here's an easier question for you, brother. You pray your 5 daily prayers, correct?
Yeah, I try to. Sometimes I
Where in the Quran does it tell you how to do those 5 daily prayers?
I don't know. I'm not a sheikh, bro. I just
No need to be a sheikh.
So it's not there and you don't know.
I don't know. It says
That's okay.
follow Prophet
That's
Muhammad,
okay.
That's how he prays, no?
We don't know because the Shias and the Sunnis and the
They
Sufis and the Hanbalis and the Shafi'is and Maturidis and everybody's, they pray, each one of them pray in a different way and they say that the Prophet prayed that way. So anyway, brother, look, I think you should investigate a little bit more. I think you should look into the matter of Abu Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam a little bit more seriously and just look into how to recognize the Mahdi. Look, there is a video on YouTube. Please do me the favor, right? So that we can start a conversation in a relationship, a friendly relationship, right? Like we
I
don't,
have a question. You guys pray or no?
we pray the true prayer
How? Like, what
by
is it?
finding the Imam of your time. You know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran said, like, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his angels pray upon the Prophet, so you also, O believers, pray upon him and give complete submission.
Master, how do you guys pray though?
So that's how we pray. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you to pray to Muhammad, meaning to find Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and give him allegiance and
Full obedience.
obey him a complete obedience. And also you can do supplication, you can do dua. Like you can raise your hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for things and ask him for help. You can also, if you feel it, if it feels really, really strongly, you want to prostrate to Allah, you can also put your head on the floor and prostrate. You can. But it's not ritualistic as Muslims do. Like, it is actually closer to how Jesus did it in the Bible than the Muslims do it. But yeah, it's not ritualistic. It is if you feel it, if you want it, if you want to sit down and do prayer, and then suddenly in your heart you felt overwhelmed by the gratefulness of God, by the amazing presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you feel like this awe, this sense of like, oh my God, I really need to, like, when you just fall down in prostration. That is how the Prophet prostrated in the Isra al-Mi'raj. When he went up there, he said, I couldn't control myself. It was just automatically I had to be on the floor. If you are feeling that state, then go there. If you're feeling the state of actually raising your hands and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and having a conversation with him, have it. Have conversations with God like you're having it with me. Just know that it's God, It's like a genuine, from your heart, beautiful kind of, pure one-to-one, God talk. You talk to him and he will talk to you. He will respond with synchronicities, with visions, with everything. A lot of things he can talk to you.
How do I talk to Mahdi if you guys claim?
Brother, first investigate the matter.
Yeah, please do it. Go ahead. We'll end this call right now after Brother Osman. But yeah.
How do I talk?
Yeah, investigate the matter a bit more, get to learn who the Mahdi is, and also get to know what the true meaning of prayer is. It is obedience to the man appointed by God in every day and age, brother. That's what we're telling you. Go to the Mahdi Has Appeared YouTube channel, scan the QR code that you see right there, investigate the matter, and once you have, then go ahead and give your bay'ah to Abu Sadiq and give him full obedience, and then you will be upon true prayer because you will be following the man that's appointed by God in today's day and age.
Exactly.
Followers that you guys have, have you guys all sucked this cock?
No, brother, we don't do that, unfortunately for you. So it's, that's the level you're at.
Exactly.
That's the level you're at. Anyway, continuing. So the idea is that the divine justice state is something that is very interesting. So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that we are supported by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have such a great idea, an ideology that is like, actually, I've never heard a single Muslim scholar, never a single claimer of knowledge of some kind actually supporting
any religion.
Exactly, supporting something like this, or actually pushing towards something like this. We are the only and the first movement on the face of the earth that is actually pushing towards something like this today. In the flesh, we have a man who is actually standing in front of everybody. He's calling towards it, and he's also proving himself and his authority through the same methodology that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam proved himself, through the same methodology that Jesus Christ, from him his peace, did it himself, proved himself, through the same methodology exactly as Moses alayhi salatu wasalam. So we are saying that this man, if you study his and you do a comparative religion and you see, okay, how did Moses prove himself? Then how did Jesus prove himself? Then how did Muhammad sallallahu alayhim ajma'in prove themselves? Then how did Abu Sadiq prove himself? You'll find it equal 1-to-1 ratio. That's literally how it is. This is what we're saying. We're saying the Prophet Muhammad, before he died, he said, bring me a pen and paper, I will write for you a document, you will never go astray after that. And he did write that document, and he named in it the names of the successors, which is the main reason why we don't have a divine justice state. Why we don't have a divine justice state right now, Islamic or not, is because you don't have a ruler who is appointed by God.
Exactly.
You have rulers who are appointed by the people. You have Irani rulers, you have Iraqi rulers, you have Saudi rulers, you have Jordanian rulers, Syrian rulers, and the people are fighting day and night to put somebody else on the throne. It is a game of thrones that you guys have been thrown into. You've literally been, you woke up and you are in the middle of a Game of Thrones. And between who? Between many non-working religious scholars, many egocentric, narcissistic people, and you have also the side of God who is represented by a man who is appointed by God. Otherwise, you're telling us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows all these demons and devils and narcissistic people and selfish people and non-working religious scholars to fight over the throne, and he himself doesn't have a representative.
Exactly. And without a way to identify the individual that's appointed by God, you're basically saying God has left mankind to be in turmoil in the way that it is today.
He wanted them to be.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, and that's not
And no way out.
believe in. Absolutely not.
And no way out. Like, it's like somebody who knows that his children don't know how to swim, and he threw them in the middle of the sea, and he didn't even give them any sort of floaters or something like that to save them, or like at least put the floaters like close by, to a reach hand so that they can actually go ahead. So you cannot accuse God of something so evil that you would say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would leave us without a divinely appointed king. And you cannot also tell us that this Mahdi identification scenario is so complicated that your scholars have been doing this since 2015. Where we are asking your scholars to actually come to the scene and give us how to recognize the Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam, and they can't. All their methodology is like, let him do a miracle for us. Are you a magician? No, I'm not a magician. Okay, well, how are you going to tell the difference between a magic trick and an actual divine thing? What do you want him to do, for example? What do you want him to do? Split the sea? How do you know that that's not a technology that's right now existing and it's an alien technology or something? How would you not know? Right now, even the Congress is talking about the aliens. They actually proved it. They cannot deny it. I mean, the fact that they say actually in the Congress is like, that, yes, there is much more knowledge that we are not allowed to talk about. And there is biologics that we have found on these unidentified flying objects that we've captured after the crash. So it's like they're saying to you, there are aliens out there. They're saying it literally, and there is a huge movement for that, and you can see. And in fact, everybody knows. So what about if it's aliens who actually like just split the sea for you from far away with unseen waves,
Exactly. So the idea is that there has to be a way that God has put on earth for us to identify this divinely appointed individual. And it has to be something that actually aligns with each and every prophet and messenger that has came. And doing, what did you say? Miracles is not a way to identify a prophet or a messenger.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. It has to be something that aligns with all the prophets and messengers. And when you go back and search in history, you'll see that the three things that all of them came with that all line up is the will being appointed by the individual before them.
Yeah.
Divine knowledge from God, and also calling to the supremacy of God and saying that nobody has the right to appoint a ruler except for God himself.
You see? You know what they answer you for? They're like, show us something and we'll be the judges. Unfortunately, no, you cannot. This is not how it works with God.
Not at all.
It's like actually when people said that to God, it was like he gave them the camel of Saleh. It was, you want to test me, I'll test you. You don't test God, man. You either follow his how he does things and you become a believer, or you become a disbelieving doubter who should go back to step number one. Does God exist? Is he good or is he not good? Does he send messengers or not? And then when you get to the point where Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger, you know that he wanted to write a will, and then you continue and you will find only Abu Sadiq at the very end of that road. You will never be able to escape the fact that Abu Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam is the only man in the flesh who actually has an authority that is based on an actual logical, consistent, legal way. Exactly the same as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the prophets and the messengers. At the end of the show, I thank you, brother, for this great time.
Absolutely, brother. It's always an honor getting into the matter of the riser and the qaim. Absolutely.
Really is. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and inshallah we'll see you guys in the next episode.